but the advisory committee hearing, which was public, recommended not to approve MDMA for post-traumatic stress disorder. It was a big outcry. But the reason is also, I want to be a little bit self-critical, like for the psychedelic industry, because I'm a huge believer. Like, you're sitting next to maybe the biggest believer in psychedelics, but I also realize that 95%, I would guess, because we live in our bubble. You have met a lot of people who take psychedelics. I always very open, like in a country where it's legal, I do my psychedelic therapy, sort of life-enhancing thing twice a year. Like, I'm very open with that. But like, I also realized we are a bubble, like, and 95% or whatever, like a vast majority of people have not done psychedelics yet and are, unfortunately, we can like it or not, and we can blame the Nixon government or not, but like are stuck in this misinformation. So the only way this was sort of what some people say, I'm too conservative, because they're like, oh my God, you taking it, like you should like be more like be liberal, whatever. But my decision was the only way to move psychedelics back into the medical world is to do it like I would do it, and we have a biotech portfolio of 50 biotech companies, like I do it with every other medical substance. I'm producing clinical data in a very rigorous, very scientific way, to show and prove it, what I personally believe, but we have to prove it. And that was a little bit the weakness of the MAPS data, because, MAPS was a non-profit, so they never had a huge funding. So all the data was actually always done with the minimum effort, not because they wanted it, but like it was kind of limited in terms of funding. I'll give you an example, like MAPS did 200 people in the phase 3 PTSD study. In our treatment-resistant depression study with psilocybin, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, we treated around 800 people. Why? People said at the beginning, oh, it's a lot, do you need to spend all that money? Because it cost hundreds of millions. But I was like, people will try to poke holes in it because it's magic mushrooms. Yeah. So because I'm dealing with psychedelics, and because I have this personal conviction, but I cannot take my personal conviction and say, oh, everybody should just follow me because, like, I know I need to be especially rigorous and need to do it sort of very scientific, very broad. So yeah, long story short, I think psychedelics are coming back. Yeah, I think we're going to deliver really good data over the next years. And I also think, I still hope that the FDA will actually still approve MDMA, because they can, so they don't need to follow that advisory board's recommendation. And I think the political pressure of the veterans is there, so I really hope. But if not, it's also not lost, because the advisory board didn't push back on MDMA per se. They pushed back on that specific data set and said, okay, there are holes we can poke into it. So yeah, nothing lost.